Hey you goons, goblins, and gorillas, Cuban Shark here with another tournament walkthrough. This one on the Phantom Mansion, where qualifications begin on Monday, October 26th. And just as with previous full tournaments, you have 3 days to qualify, 2 days for the opening round, and 2 days for the weekend round. This is a 9-hole course, brand new. A couple of holes that have been revamped, but the majority of the holes are brand new. It's very, very nice. I enjoy playing this tournament on multiple profiles, so I hope that you enjoy the content provided. So without further ado, let's begin. But before we do, if you like the video, please consider hitting the subscribe button and turn on the notification to be notified when similar videos are available. And lastly, please hit that like button to let me know that you enjoy the content provided. I'd love to hear your feedback and to know whether this video helped you get better prepared for this upcoming tournament. And if you got them, please post your greatest hits on our Facebook page at Gorilla Farm GC. All right, guys, thanks for watching and good luck. So for hole number 1, I'm providing a couple of different options. I'm playing this a lot more aggressively, and then I'm showing a second video where I'm taking this same shot with a beginner profile that I have, where I have no more than about 60 games for junior rookies and those who like to play it a little bit safer. Though I have mentioned in the past, playing it safe, particularly in par 4s, is not really going to help you get up in the ranks. So sometimes you've got to take that risk. I'm playing this with a level 8 extra mile and a power 5 ball with 2 bars of topspin, and I hit the ball perfect. But I have hit this with a level 7 and a power 5, and I've been able to get onto the green on the first shot. Now this green slopes to the back. It's long. It's done that way on purpose, because if you overshoot it, then the second shot becomes difficult. Thank God that I was able to make it. But you don't, probably the way the wind is, you're not going to need more than 1 bar of topspin if you've got a level 7 or level 8 extra mile. For this second shot, as I mentioned before, I'm taking this shot with using a profile rather, that I've only played about 60 games or so. So I am taking a little bit more of a conservative approach and playing it to the right. Now, as you're going to see, I'm close to that rough, but I am giving myself a little bit more of adjustment just to make sure that I don't end up hitting a great shot to the right and clipping it. But you can play it a couple bars more to the left just to play it safe. I did pull the ball a little bit to the left because, as you can see, this green tends to slope to the right, and if your club is a little more powerful, you're gonna end up on the sand to the right. It's just gonna I've seen a lot of people do it in several games that I've played. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a very well developed short iron. I'm using the Apache. This is the best iron that I have, and unfortunately, it only has 1 bar of backspin. So if you're in a similar situation, give yourself more room because you don't have much of a ball guide. Pull the bullseye further back and adjust this at maximum, which is what I'm doing here. And that's going to be your best bet. I actually hit the flag on this shot, and if you see I'm pulling it just a little bit to the left, that is my adjustment for that 10% that I mentioned on these shots. So as you can see, I did hit the pole, so everything was right except I came in too hot. For hole number 2, I'm using a Goliath long iron and a Navigator power 1 ball. And unfortunately, the ball guide isn't that great. I've tried this shot with the Grizzly and with the Backbone, and it seems to work the best with the Goliath. I'm using about almost 2 bars of backspin, about 1.8, 1.9 bars of backspin, and I'm lining up the white ring with the rough on top and the edge of the orange ring just in the rough area there. And I'm adjusting at mid. Okay, so that's very important. You're playing this shot at mid range. So this was a hole-in-one. However, I've played this with about 4 other I had played this with about 4 other profiles prior to this shot, and I've got pretty close, but didn't manage to get a hole in one. And this one was actually a little bit close. So just keep in mind the ball will pull a little bit to the right, and it looks like the wind for the tournament is facing right. For hole number 3, I'm using a level 3 extra mile and a kingmaker. And I'm using the kingmaker because of the side spin, because unfortunately um, this is a very basic extra mile and it doesn't have a whole lot of curl. And just out of the fear that I might get up on that rough area there on to the right, which I've seen it and actually done it myself a couple of times, I decided to take full advantage of the 3 bars to the left, and obviously shoot this curling it as much as possible to the left as well. Now, this is a junior account, so I wasn't sure how far this was going to go, but it's put me in a very, very nice place to be able to take this second shot. And I'm using the Goliath because it's the one long iron that I have that has at least 4 bars of topspin, which is what you're going to need here. I am playing this on the rough. It seems to be the most effective. 3 3/4 bars of topspin. And again, the only challenge when you have these underdeveloped clubs is you've got a very poor ball guide. But this is enough where I know at least that I'm pointing in the general direction, and I am adjusting the wind at maximum level. And obviously taking a perfect shot is going to be very, very helpful. Now, I didn't make an albatross here, but I got very close, and I consider this to be an excellent shot considering that this is an undeveloped club and a junior account. So as mentioned in previous videos, it's really all about understanding your club. That's very, very important. So as long as you understand the use of those clubs and their limitations, you should be able to do fine in this hole as well as this tournament in general. I'm playing hole number 4 in a junior account with less than 60 games played. So I am playing this shot with a power level 5 Viper. However, I do recommend that if you've got the sniper, that you utilize it for the purpose of accuracy. Now, make sure that the level of sniper that you have gives you at least 3 bars of backspin. The tricky part about this shot is that the back of this green slopes down, so it is very easy to come in just a little bit too hot and end up in the rough, if not in the sand, because there's a sand bunker right in the back. So I'm using 3 bars of backspin and I'm placing my bullseye right between the 2 sand bunkers. Now, I wouldn't guide myself too much on the white ring by the fringe, only because unless you're using a Viper power or level 5 or something similar, those rings are going to be a lot narrower the more accurate your club is. So if you're using a sniper, for example, the rings are not going to necessarily be touching the fringe. So it's just something to keep in mind. So as I'm setting up this shot, I am adjusting for wind at maximum with a 10% of elevation. And as I take this shot, you will notice that the ball will drop. It will come a little bit short, unfortunately, because of the ball guide. But notice how the back of that green just literally drops down. So that's why that hole is very tricky from that perspective, because you can end up on the fringe, the rough, or even the sand bunker if you come in too hot. For hole number 5, I'm using an extra mile and a power 3 ball. And I'm using a kingmaker because obviously it does help you a little bit more with wind, and it has that additional 3rd bar of side spin. However, you can curl this shot and not need that additional bar of side curl. I just happen to have many of these balls, so I'm using it. It is a safe to overpower this shot because you've got a really wide fairway. So I hit a great right, and I should have curled the ball a little bit more to the left so that this wouldn't have happened. I clipped the rough, but even by clipping the rough, as long as you don't completely mess it up, you should still have a decent shot towards the hole, which is what I have here. I am using 3 bars of backspin with a horizon short iron, and and I'm adjusting at maximum with a 10% elevation factor. But after reviewing this shot, I missed it by literally a hair. And I normally, when I'm playing at this elevation, I normally pull it just a little bit to the left so that I can kind of adjust for that additional wind that's pulling to the right. And I didn't do it here, and I kind of regret it because I literally just missed it by a hair. So keep that in mind when you're taking this shot. For hole number 6, I'm using an extra mile and a power 3 ball, and I'm playing this shot to the right. And it's a pretty simple shot, to be honest with you. I've been told that this is the most difficult par 5 in the tournament, and I don't necessarily agree. You just got to make sure, be mindful that that sand bunker is there to your right. So what I recommend that you do for this shot is I would overpower this shot at maximum with a power 3 ball, but I would curl the shot a little bit to the right, so just in case you do happen to hit a great shot to the left, you've got an opportunity for some adjustment. So this is just to try to get down as far down that fairway as possible, but as you can see, I got pretty close to the rough, so I wouldn't use anything more than a power 3 ball. On this second shot, I'm using a Goliath. I happen to be set up that way. You can use a different club that has a little bit more accuracy, though I am comfortable with the Goliath. I'm using 3.5 bars of backspin, and I'm adjusting for the wind at maximum. And honestly, I think this is a great opportunity for an albatross. Just kind of just tuning it in, and taking into account that this does have a little bit of a downward slope, I guess.
Perfect shot.
So the ball will come in a little bit hotter than normal. As you can see, I did get very close to the hole. It did come in a little hotter than I prefer to. For hole number 7, I'm using a sniper level 8 and a power 0 ball. And I'm taking a more conservative approach of taking the shot on that patch of fairway there before the green. But one thing I have to mention on this option is that that patch of green is almost like a dome shape. So depending on where the ball falls exactly, it could either slow the ball down significantly or speed it up. So keep that in mind. That's what's making this shot so inconsistent. The second approach to taking the shot would be bouncing off the rough at the front of that sand bunker with 3.5 bars of backspin and adjusting at mid-range plus a 25%. And that's very important. Otherwise, you'll end up in the sand or overpowering the shot. So this is a tricky par 3. And as you'll see, I came in short because I happened to hit the back part of this dome, as you can see from that angle. So keep that in mind when you're taking this shot. For hole number 8, I'm using an Apocalypse level 4, which is equivalent to an extra mile level 7. And I'm playing to the right with a power 3 ball. You could play it to the left, but there's a large curve for the left in order to stay onto the fairway. So I consider it to be a little trickier, and it leaves you a tad bit further back. Now, the challenge with this hole is that you want to, the idea is to center the bullseye in the middle of the fairway and pull the ball to the left. I did manage to pull the ball to the left a little bit, but I stayed too close to the left and didn't put the ball in the middle of the fairway. So, spoiler alert, I did clip the rough and ended up on the second patch of fairway. However, it still provided me with a very, very decent shot at the hole. And one little tricky thing here that I noticed that Playdemic did with this hole is, depending where you put the bullseye, you will lose your ball guide. So keep that in mind if you're taking this approach. Pull the ball guide back so that you do get a nice clean guide further back to the sand. And you want to play this with 3 bars of backspin and adjusting for the wind at maximum. This should allow you for a nice drop on the rough and an easy roll in for an eagle.
Eagle.
For hole number 9, I'm using a power 3 ball and an Apocalypse level 4. And that's equivalent to an extra mile level 7, by the way. And I'm taking this shot right down the middle because it seems to be the safest and to get me the furthest possible down that fairway, so I can obviously get as close to the hole as possible for the good setup of my second shot. And this green has a little bit of a dome effect to it, so just keep that in mind. If you do tend to lean great left, then try to pull the ball right and vice versa. That's what I try to do to kind of adjust any of those mistakes that I make regularly on these shots. But as long as you're taking this shot fairly well down the middle, you've got a very wide fairway, so you should be safe. Now on this second shot, I'm using a Goliath, and I am pulling the ball back using 2.5 bars of backspin and adjusting for wind at maximum. And if there's something that I would change on this shot is, first, I would use a long iron that gave me a little bit more accuracy than the Goliath. Goliath is a great club. It allows you to get closer to the hole, so then you can pull it back and the bounce is less. However, the consistency is not what I'm concerned about. It's more the accuracy on the club. And the ball guide isn't as developed on the Goliath. So just keep that in mind when you're taking this shot. I might recommend a Grizzly rather than the Goliath to get closer to the hole. However, I did get almost got into the hole here, very, very close. I think if I would have used a more accurate club, I think I could have done it.
Nice on.
All right, guys, thank you for watching this video. Remember to hit the subscribe button and tap on that notification bell to be notified of future content. And please let me see those gorilla moments by posting your greatest hits on our Facebook page at Gorilla Farm GC. Good luck, gorillas.